You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby!
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for Minnesota Sports, live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is Minnesota Sports Live. We are back. Yes, claps all around, but not too many. Not too many claps. We can't have that. You can't do that. No. Not so much excitement. I'm sorry, Case. No, you can't do. More on that later. Anyway, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Kelly, a.k.a. Matty C, et cetera. And it looks like someone already did it for me, Max Grable, so I appreciate you doing that for me. But anyway, and all the way from Woods End Shore Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Volta, Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
You know, can't really get too excited because we get too excited. People tend to frown upon that, apparently, especially with it being Minnesota and sports to begin with. So we're just trying to keep things pretty even keel as of late.
Yeah, the thing is Case can't contain his excitement right now. But
no, he cannot.
That is. But you know what? That's okay. There's some people that frown upon that, but we're gonna get into that in a little bit. But. Oh, man, just ridiculous. But anyway, welcome. Episode 104, Voldy. We're getting closer to like 105, 110, all that going through. So it's been quite a ride. But tonight we got a lot to talk about. If we don't have enough time to talk about this team, which, they did start their season and they did lose today. We'll get to that. But I think the big news, and who would have thunk? I mean, honestly, who would have thunk with this team, right? The Minnesota Timberwolves. We're starting off, hot take, talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves because they won their play-in game last night. But remember, you can't get too excited. Now, why are we starting off with this? Well, you're going to find out. And if you didn't watch the game, and or if you haven't looked at the social medias, it's been quite controversial among the national media. So we're going to get right into it. Let's get it going with some tater-tot hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, it's time for some tater-tot hot take. We're starting off on an emotional note, I would say. The Minnesota Timberwolves win. They beat the LA Clippers to go to the playoffs. They are the 7th seed. It's very good. It's very good for this team. Cole Munson predicted that they would go and get in the playoffs this year. Some people could call him crazy. Some people could call Will Ertel crazy for making the playoffs. But guess what? They agree. They agreed that they were going to make the playoffs, and look at them. They did. They went in the play-in game. They got it done. So claps out to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, Case, exactly. To the Wolves. We're happy about it, but not too happy. Not too happy, right? We can't be too happy. More on that in a second. Voldy, let's start off with just kind of the analysis of the game. Then I want to get to the controversy here. But Voldy, the Wolves were down by about 10 points here. I got back from work. I watched the last quarter of the game. And I tell you what, it wasn't looking good because Paul George was getting hot.
It was.
He was getting hot at the right time. So the good news is that the Wolves were able to get on a run there, and D'Lo stepped up. Anthony Edwards stepped up big time. Big shot after big shot. But the guy that I have back here, Karl Anthony Towns, was in foul trouble. I want to get into that too. So what are your overall thoughts of this big win here, Volker?
Yeah, if you would have told me that the Timberwolves would have won this game without Karl Anthony Towns being a huge factor at the beginning of the year, I would have probably said that you're crazy, because you would have thought at the start of the year, before getting to know what this team was going to be about offensively and especially defensively too, with just the guys that they had on the roster, and Karl Anthony Towns wasn't going to be the big offensive threat. Yeah, that would have been something to laugh at the start of the year. But I think with him in that early foul trouble, it shows the fact that now that he isn't just the guy that has to be relied upon to make something happen, whether it be offensively or defensively. You have Anthony Edwards now. You have obviously D'Lo, who picked up his fair share of scoring too. And, Pat Bev did what he always does, gets under guys' skins and came out with, on both ends of the floor, aggressive. And, well, we already know the exploits of what it means to him when he got that victory and everything too. But obviously with Karl Anthony Towns in trouble early on and throughout much of the game with foul trouble, even fouling out too, it was definitely something to keep an eye on. But obviously the Timberwolves were ready for that situation, and they came through at the end.
They did. And just kind of bouncing off of what you said too, this team is different. And I said this at the beginning of the season and also during the season here, that this team has been different, and different in a good way, because I'm seeing more team camaraderie. I'm seeing a lot of, us as a team. Some nights it might be, it might be Cat. Some nights it might be Anthony Edwards. Sometimes it might be D'Angelo. Okay. Now, the one thing I am concerned about, and you already hit on it, was Cat getting in foul trouble. He only had 11 points, and the Clippers wanted to shut him down, and to be honest, they got to him. The question now is, what is Cat going to do about that once they take on Memphis? And like we've been talking about, that we cannot look at this and say, okay, well, if Cat doesn't commit as many fouls, no, I don't care who the refs are. I know this Ed Malloy character people kept talking about on the social medias. He's just against the Wolves and things like that. But again, you got going into this, you got to put that aside and be able to overcome that. And I don't want to get negative on this, because I think Cat's going to bounce back, and I think he's going to do very well. I don't think you can look at this and say, well, if he does go into this against Memphis and doesn't play well, oh boy, the Boo Birds are going to be chirping. And what I mean by that is Twitter's going to be going. So anyway, I think he's going to bounce back. But let's talk about how Edwards was able to really come through in clutch moments. I mean, he was saying, Voldy, that they were afraid to guard him. And I couldn't tell, man, because if you had him ISO'd, he was blowing right by you. He was going to blow right by, and he did. Just awesome dunks. He was hitting from three. D'Lo was amazing, just hitting jump shot after jump shot, clutch bucket after clutch bucket. And, again, shout out to Naz Reid. With Cat being in foul trouble and everything like that, he took a lot of minutes at the end there, and he played well. He got some key rebounds. He made clutch baskets too. There was a nice putback that he had, but I was very happy with the way that Naz Reid played, and Jalen Noel, he defensively solid, Vanderbilt too. So, Paul George got his, but then again, the Wolves were able to shut them down. So we're happy about that. Looking forward to Memphis. Okay, let's get to this task at hand here, because this has been a controversy this whole day, and actually last night too, I should say. A lot of people were kind of, or a lot of the national media, I might say, thought of this as, the Wolves are just. Well, why are they so excited about this? Like, they think this is the, Super Bowl or the finals or something like that. Well, if you've been a Wolves fan your whole freaking life and you don't understand how much this means to a lot of people. Now, a lot of the national media was kind of making fun of the Wolves for celebrating like that, and that was Patrick Beverley. Edwards jumped on the scores table and whatnot. I don't understand why people are like, making fun of them. Why? I mean, what's the point? And I'll get into it in a little bit here, but I want to start off with getting to some zoners, and then I want your thoughts on this whole celebration after the game, Voldy. Mm-hmm. Cole says, mark it on the board, baby, which I think that what he meant is they're making the playoffs. Easy A says, I don't know if I can handle this Minnesota success. Where is the disappointment? LOL. Let's be honest, it's probably coming. D'Lo was huge. Helped keep the game under control when things were going sideways for Cat. Rattel, our guy Rattel, says Edwards over Towns. I think that might come into fruition, but it's going to be interesting how this is going to shake out in these next couple of years too. So, I mean, I think if you want Edwards to be the guy, then you got to let him loose. But Voldy, the Wolves get the win. We understand it's a play-in game, and they get the 7th seed. Pat Bev is kind of he's chirping at his old teammates. He's jumping on the scores table. He's throwing his jersey out into the crowd. He's crying, and he's so very emotional. And people are excited. What are your thoughts on this whole deal with the celebration after the game?
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people are hating on it. Look, they don't understand. You don't understand the amount of crap that the Timberwolves have been through since they had a last meaningful playoff run. 2003, 2004 with KG and crew in the Western Conference Finals. There have been bad trades. There have been bad drafts. There have been bad coaches, bad ownership. Yeah. There's been just one bad ownership the entire time of that span. And the fact that they wanted to celebrate a playoff win to get into, first off, not even a playoff win, to get to the playoffs in that play-in game, that's huge. And it just so happened to be Pat Bev was playing against his former team, a team that he wanted to face in that situation, get under their skin, go off and play. That is the type of energy that is going to be needed throughout this entire postseason run for the Timberwolves. And it came to fruition at a point where guys get excited. And you know what? Energy is fed throughout the team. So Anthony Edwards jumping in as well. Carl was kissing up on his lady after the game as well. Just even though he didn't really factor in the grand stretch of everything, he still played his role on the team, and he knew that he had to be a leader on the sideline as well. I love it. I mean, sure, throwing the jersey into the crowd was a little bit extra, but I love it. I mean, if that's what's going to be, that's what's going to be. And super casual as well. Pat Bev looking at the post-game report in the post-game press conference too, just pulling a beer and sticking it right on the table too. Yeah. It's just like, that's a working man right there, and just putting in his 9 to 5 and rewarding himself with a nice little Bud Light after it too.
Yeah, and that was cool. That was fun. And also, you're seeing a lot of these guys come together. It was so emotional for these guys. And like you mentioned, the crap that this team has been throughout the years, and to be able to win this game, and people say, you're treating it like it's a championship. Why are you going to have a parade? Things like that. Just stop. Let them enjoy the moment, okay? And and granted, I love me some TNT. I love Chuck. I love, I
Terrible.
like Kenny the Jet. I like Shaq. But, I mean, you got to look into the history of this team. I mean, you've played against these teams, okay? You've played against us. You understand that we haven't had much success. You should know
Ever.
that. Yeah, ever. So don't come in and bashing us and playing. Now, granted, it was kind of funny playing One Shining Moment. Okay, that's fine. I don't really mind that. But I have a bone to pick with a certain show right now, and that is on ESPN. I tweeted this, and I'm glad I got some love on this. And I'm calling out the First Take crew, the ESPN First Take crew. Molly Karam, Jay Williams, Tim Legler, and Stephen A. Smith, which I think he's kind of backpedaled a little bit. He usually doesn't do that. But they said, Legler was saying that the Wolves had confetti, and they were bursting off fireworks, for goodness sake. None of that happened after the game. None of that happened. It was guys being happy to be in the playoffs on the 7th seed. I mean, why are you getting on this team because they're happy? Come on, man. I mean, if they beat the Memphis Grizzlies, I want an apology from those guys. Like, why are they saying that that there were fireworks? You need to get your facts straight, and you didn't on that one. So there weren't any fireworks because I texted Munson. I said, listen, was there any, fireworks? Was there any, confetti after the game? No, there wasn't. There wasn't at all.
Was he at the game?
Yeah, Cole was at the game.
Cool.
Cole Munson was at the game. So
Cool.
These national media people, it's driving me nuts. There's some people on Twitter, too, that are going off about, they're acting like this is, their NBA finals and whatnot. They've won the championship. Just let it be. And like you said, Pat Bev was with the Clippers for 4 years, and he thought he was going to be on this team for the rest of his career. They decided to trade him. This meant a lot to him, and for him to go in there and just boom, put it in their face and say, that's what you get. That's what you guys get for taking me out of the team there, because he also said they're going to take their ass back to LA. That's what he said, and that's what they're going to do. So, sorry. All right, Munson also says, national media doesn't understand how long the Wolves fans have struggled. We haven't had an enjoyable team since I was 9 freaking years old. 9. So you got that to factor in. Easy says they're a bunch of fake news, and it's true. They didn't do enough research, and they didn't watch. It's like, guys were jumping on tables. Yeah, he jumped on the scores tape. He was enjoying what they got done. Like, what is the big deal? So, I just wanted to throw that in there. It's been the topic all day, and it's frustrating to me why some of these people just think, okay, well, yeah, we're just gonna mock you guys because you guys think you won the NBA Finals. No, they put together a great game plan. They executed it. They were down 10 points and went on a 16-2 run, for goodness sakes.
Exactly.
I mean, give them some credit here. They didn't have Cat out on the floor, for goodness sake. They had D'Lo, they had Ant, and they were able to hit the big shots when they needed to. And that is the main thing that we're getting out of this. But LeBron James also tweeted laughing emojis and things like that. And I think Pat Bev, I don't know if Pat Bev responded, but he responded to the Charles Barkley thing, which I think is pretty funny. He goes, I don't see no ring on his finger, or something like that. So I love how they're just kind of trading shots left and right, but it's fine. I think that's okay. But, this meant a lot to Patrick Beverley, and the Wolves, I think, hit a home run on acquiring him from the Clippers. I think that this has changed this team, and now they're going into the playoffs against Memphis. Voldy, I think we're under the same impression here. If they can win this series, which I'm not going to say is out of the realm of possibility, okay?
Right.
I think they could take it. If I were to make a prediction, I'll make it right now. I think they'll probably lose to Memphis in 6 games, which I think is respectable at this point. I just think that they're the number 2 seed for a reason. I still think there's some growth to be had with the Wolves right now, but they could change my mind here. But going into the series with the Grizzlies, Voldy, do you think that the Wolves can pull it off here?
I think they're definitely going to be able to steal a game or two in the series. I think it's going to be a very gritty series with Pat Bev going against Morant, and obviously the battle down low with Cat, and also you throw Steven Adams into the mix too. It's certainly going to be a very aggressive, very physical matchup too. There's plenty of streakiness between these two teams, and I think it's definitely going to be 6 games is definitely a good number to be at. And I think there's still a lot of growing pains has to go through this Timberwolves team, but I think they'll make it a very competitive series.
Right, and I think one of the things that they need to factor in is how are they going to be able to defend Ja Morant. Yeah. And Ja Morant has been fantastic so far for Memphis. I hope Finch, I think, is going to come up with a game plan, but I also get concerned about the size down low for the Wolves. They really don't. They have Cat, they have Nazarene, but I feel like they're missing another big guy that they can use down low, and I just hope that we can hit our outside shots, and I think we're the top team in scoring, which can be in our favor, and that's props out to Finch. And his extension, by the way. So claps out to him. I mean, he has done a great job. They got these guys believing, and there's been so many posts about him. I mean, the guys love him and whatnot. So props out to Coach Finch. But I agree with you, Voldy. I think this is going to be it's going to come down to 6 games. I think Memphis is going to be able to fend off the Wolves. But I think their wins, Voldy, are going to be at home. The wins that they'll win at home. They could have the series at 2-2 or something like that. I hope it's the case, but I also think that it's not easy going up against the juggernaut like Memphis is. But I wouldn't be surprised if they pull it off, man. I really wouldn't, because I like what I've seen from Ant. If Ant keeps playing the way that he's been playing, this team's going to be hard to stop. So I think they might have a chance. We'll see. But and again, Cat's got to get going, man. I mean, you got to bounce back, and if he bounces back, we're in good shape. So we'll see what happens coming up here against the Grizzlies. So they're always a tough opponent. But let's move on to our Twins. Well, Voldy, it was kind of a. It's been kind of a weird start. I don't know about you.
A little bit.
It's a little odd to me. And we won't spend too much time on it because we want to get to some table topics, which we got some great table topics tonight, folks. But Minnesota Twins lost today. They got shut out. Clayton Kershaw obviously did his thing against the Twins. But the Twins kind of started off okay. They had some nice They had a couple nice games. They lost the first 2 against Seattle, and then they won the last 2. One of them had the Twins mashing 6 homers for their first win, nonetheless. So that's pretty good. Buxton's been playing well. Sano has been terrible. More on that later. But it's going to be, I don't know. It's kind of showing, hey, you need pitching in order to get going here. But Voldy, what are your thoughts so far on this Twins season? Obviously, the game today they lose to the Dodgers, and I think the Dodgers are much, much better than the Twins right now. So what do you think of the Twins so far, Voldy?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that we couldn't see the very first perfect game at Target Field, with this game being, the first start of the year for Clayton Kershaw. And if this start wasn't, like his 12th or 15th start in July or August, because we very well could have seen the first perfect game at Target Field and only the 24th in Major League Baseball history. The Twins have been off to, not a terrible, but not a good start either. there's a lot of growing pains, like you're saying with with Byron Buxton too. He's been doing all right. I think he was like 5 of 21 to start off going
Yeah.
into today's game, and 3 of those hits have been homers. So there's a good amount of rust to be shaken off. Whether maybe the weird schedule to start off the year too, because there's a lot of weird start times that we've had to begin the season for the Twins too. Like they played at noon today after playing at like 6:30 last night. And they don't even get me started about the series in Boston coming up here this weekend too, even though I'm a little bit excited about that one because the weird times just make it very, very interesting. They play like all day games, and they play at 10:30 on Monday because the Boston Marathon is going on that Monday too, with it being in Boston. But like it's also said too, pitching, little bit of a concern, but there have been some bright spots. Bailey Ober did fairly well. Dylan Bundy pitched a nice game the other night. Chris Archer has kind of filled the innings where he needs to. A really small sample size. A lot of guys getting out for their first starts of the year. Miguel Sano still a hot garbage dumpster fire into a crap tornado that he is in his career right now. Still don't know why he's still around. Just, before the game, too, Kirilloff gets sent down to the IL. Trevor Larnach back up with the team, too. It's good that the Twins have 19 outfielders that they can just steadily rotate between them and across town with the St. Paul Saints as well. Even though they've got, like, one guy that can play, like, they're like a glorified Little League team because, like, every guy can play 4 positions, it seems like. Don't even get me started on that whole tangent right now, but there's definitely some good and there's a fair amount of bad, but still plenty to go on because they're only 6 games into the year and 156 more to go.
Yeah. I don't think we're panicking yet. I think they're just trying to work out the kinks, and I'll keep it brief here. But Kirilloff obviously going to the IL with his wrist issue. But like you said, we got a plethora of outfielders, so I don't think we'll be too bummed about that. But I don't like that they have the injury bug being an issue now because that could hurt us bad in the long run here. But I also think that it's still an issue with the pitching because I think that what they're trying to do is outslug teams. But let's be honest, if the bats go silent, what are you going to do? You can't do anything about it if the bullpen doesn't do well. But the starting pitching, I think, has been fine. I like you said, I think it's the bullpen that's been having some issues. And also, going back to Sano, Munson also says they said on the broadcast that Sano was 0 for 19.
Yep.
9 strikeouts to start the year.
Yep.
I feel like we go through this every year with Sano. Every year he starts off slow. Why does that happen? I don't know, but he's got to get it going. And that's the main thing of it here. But we'll keep an eye. Like you said, the Twins got Boston coming up here, so that'll be an exciting series. I'd like to see more out of Correa, but I think we'll get there with him. Sano, though, Sano's got to get going. I mean, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for him not playing well. So anyway, we'll keep up to date with that as well. All right, let's move on to some table topics. We got some nice ones for tonight. I talked with Voldy before the show here, guys, and they're pretty sweet. You guys are going to enjoy them as well. This is one of the good ones, and we've got some new ones for you. So let's get it going with some table topics.
The tables have been set. It's time for Minnesota's Table Topics.
All right, it's time for some table topics tonight. We got 3 of them, so be ready for some awesome topics for tonight. The first one we start off with, and Voldy, I think this is the perfect one to start off with because I feel this one kind of weaves into one of our segments. And I think you know what I'm talking about when I say infamous. So we're going to start off with this one tonight. And zoners, please chime in with this too. You'll enjoy this. Which athlete are you most disappointed in? Zoners and Voldy, what do you got?
Well, I gotta start off with one that comes to mind because he is on the top 10 in famous list. It's Josh Gordon. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the one that came to mind right away for me. Josh Gordon, all the talent in the world. First couple of seasons in Cleveland, he did really good for himself. And obviously, the addiction, the trouble with the booze, the drugs, getting kicked out of the league, being reinstated, getting kicked out again, being reinstated, getting kicked out, going to rehab, getting reinstated for the 19th time, ends up being part of a Super Bowl championship team, getting kicked out of the league again, getting brought back, pawning the Super Bowl ring, getting kicked out once again, being part of another Super Bowl team. Didn't win the Super Bowl, but part of another Super Bowl winning team or another Super Bowl team. Just continues to get all these chances and continues to blow it. No matter where he's at, whether it's Cleveland, whether it's New England, whether it was Seattle, I think Kansas City as well this past offseason or this past season, it just continues to screw it up. It's ridiculous. He had a great rookie season, I think, and first couple seasons too in Cleveland of all places. He had good seasons with 9 quarterbacks in a season and a half or however long he was leading the NFL in receiving too, and just continue to put up big numbers. But then it all went right down the tubes because he couldn't stay off the drugs and off the booze. It's just amazing that he continued to screw up, got second chances, and continued to screw up as well, because sooner or later the NFL is going to have to figure out enough is enough and just cut the cord completely. I've just been completely disappointed in the fact that he continues to get chances while other guys are scraping by trying to get something to go, and they'll do anything and everything to even have an ounce of the talent that Josh Gordon has.
Yeah, he's definitely on that list. And also, I don't blame you for having him on, or for saying you're most disappointed in. Some people would think, I'm going to go with Jameis Winston and Famous James.
Too easy.
But that's too easy. And we're not going to make it easy. And that was a pun intended, by the way, Easy A. But I would say let's go with his buddy. Let's go with Johnny Manziel. Okay, let's go with John Manziel.
John.
Okay. You have an opportunity you take over college football. You absolutely do. And I give him credit for that. But when you get to the league, you treat it as if it's just a side gig. I thought that he looked at it like that. Whether people disagree with me on that, fine. If not, it doesn't matter. Johnny Manziel had an opportunity to take over the league and be that guy and put in the work. But he didn't do that. Johnny Manziel decided to party, decided to do things on the field, like flicking off other players, and not putting in the work that is needed to be one Johnny Manziel. Now, granted, I understand that there were reports that the Vikings were trying to trade up to get him, which is, could be true. I don't know. But I'm most disappointed in him because he had an opportunity to be a great NFL quarterback. And he decided to just kind of do what he wanted and, off the field. And it's disappointing because, there's so much fame with Johnny Manziel. There was a lot of people that liked him and whatnot, but he decided he chose the party life. And granted, yes, I understand Cleveland is not the best place to be in for him.
Yep.
But, hey, man, when you have an opportunity to be an NFL player and to prove people wrong, because, he was short, but he also made plays like crazy. And Texas A&M, you've seen it before. But to just throw that all away and to be a complete and utter bust when you had all this hype around you is disappointing. I mean, you had an opportunity. Now, granted, he's off of he's living the party life, he's off doing, God knows what. But a lot of guys would kill for that. But honestly, they would want to be in that position. There's a ton of players, a ton of college guys that would want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And he decided, I'm just going to treat it as more of a side gig. Disappointing. It's just disappointing. I'm not going to go on a rant here. He had his chance and he blew it, as you would like to say. But it is what it is. Sorry, Johnny, but you had an opportunity and you just decided, I'm not going to do that. All right. Obviously, on the back of the card, we have facts. According to Time.com, here are the top disgraced athletes. Starting off with number 5, O.J. Simpson at number 5, which I think we can all agree that that's probably where, depending on who you are, I think there's a lot of people that would put him at 1 or however you want to put it. But yeah, he's definitely should be on that list. Number 4, Mark McGuire. I think that one is reasonable too. The roids and things like that. Number 3, this one is this one's interesting. Number 3, right. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods. All
right, yeah, I can see it.
Can you see it? Okay, I could see it. Depending on who you are and whatnot. Number 2, Roger Clemens.
Oh, here we go again with that crap.
Number 2, Roger Clemens. Time.com had this article. But number 1, can you guess who number 1 is, Voldy?
Someone that we know? Someone that we talk about frequently?
Not frequently, but we've mentioned him in passing.
Barry Bonds?
No.
Oh.
Non-baseball, non-top sports.
Ooh. I have no idea, honestly.
Okay. Here, I got a good clue. Live Strong.
Right. Oh, Lance Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong, yes. Lance Armstrong.
He's up to nowadays.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. But here is the list, and I probably shouldn't cover the source here. But yeah, the source is time.com. So check it out. Give us your thoughts on that, and also who we picked as the one player disappointed. I forgot. We got to throw that up. All right, let's take a look at our second one here. This one is kind of, this one might get controversial. And the reason why I say that is because there's some people that play the sport too. So I don't want to step on any toes. You know who you are. But here we go. Why is soccer not as popular in the United States as in the world? Zoners, Voldy, what do you got?
It boils down really to 2 things. 1, America is completely selfish and ignorant when it comes to what the world thinks.
Yep.
And 2, because it's a boring sport. If you boil it all down, first, let's address the first thing. The United States of America. Name one other country that uses feet and inches and not the metric system, pounds, ounces, not kilograms, not the metric system in centimeters and meters. None. There might be like 1 or 2 other countries, but none as prominent as in your face as the United States of America. And that just boils down to pure ignorance. America wants to be different. They want to let everybody know that we're different, and they shout it out to the world. And that's pretty much why the entire world hates the United States of America, at least a good portion of it, honestly, to begin with as well. And soccer is the universal game. Soccer, football, to everybody else that says it that way, that's the universal game. It joins people together. USA takes that, punts that ball over the gall-darn wall and says, here's a real football. No, not the hand egg. No, we're talking about the soccer ball, and because you look in any country, it's probably not too far away from there being some sort of soccer ball being lying around as well. That's just how it is. In America, it's the exact opposite. They do not want to accept soccer as a very important sport. That's why the growth of the game has been very slow, as performances by the U.S. men's national team, and, well, that just qualified for the World Cup, but it's been a number of years since they've been able to do that consistently.
Yeah.
The women's team is as great as it ever is because nobody puts any stock into it, and they are more invested in the women's team every 4 years for the Olympics or the World Cup itself, and just watch them kick the entire world's rear end. But nobody's going to watch women's professional soccer. No, they're not going to do that, and they're not going to invest into it too. My other point being it a completely boring sport, how many people are you going to say want to go to a soccer match, watch both teams for 90 minutes with what seems like an hour, interlude in between, and have no scoring in it whatsoever? Very close opportunities, but no scoring whatsoever. No decisiveness, a 0-0 draw, call it a day. Thanks for wasting 3 hours of my life on a soccer field that's 2,000 feet long by 97,000 feet wide and 11 players to each team. And it's a boring sport. I understand why people get excited about it and, get up early and watch all the European matches as well that occur early in the, in the American time frame too. Me personally, I'm not going to watch anything other than the World Cup. Maybe the Olympics if it's the gold medal game, but not watch anything other than the World Cup. I cannot get excited about professional, the pro soccer, whether it be a European, the MLS, the UEFA World, the UEFA League, the World Cup. I can get excited about that when it's Team USA, but that's why the growth of the game in the U.S. is slow, because it's not that exciting if you're not heavily involved or know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, what constitutes offside. I don't know the rules well enough to understand it, but if I did, I'd probably watch more of it. Other than that, that's what my feeling is about it.
Hey, there's my sister played soccer, and I mean, granted, I enjoy going to a high school soccer game as opposed to watching a professional and/or FIFA or whatever the heck you want to call it, because in all due respect, I can't sit down and watch a full match. Okay, I can't watch a full game, and it's not because it doesn't interest me as much, and that's the God's honest truth. And I'm not trying to bash anybody who plays it. And you know who you are. And I'm speaking directly to Double Trouble, my sister, and whoever played soccer. Okay, I have immense respect for how you played soccer. And it's not, it's a lot of running. A lot of running, which, again, has passed me by a long time ago. But it's also, you got to have the endurance and you got to have the love for it. And I appreciate the people that do. But like you said, why is it not as popular as in the United States? Is because there's not a whole lot of interest. You know what dominates? It's football. To be honest with you, that's what dominates around the United States of America is football. And I guess depending on how you want to put it, because basketball I feel like is kind of like that too. But granted, I whoever likes soccer, kudos out to you. I do love watching the women's team. You mentioned that. I enjoy watching the women's team because they're competitive. And guess what? They're good. They're very good. The men's, I don't know what's going on with the men's, to be honest with you. But I hopefully they can figure it out. Yeah, they did qualify, like you said, they did. But still, it's just they're hard to watch, man. They're very hard to watch. But watching the USA Women's is very enjoyable. So I will say that.
I will say this, too, about soccer. They do have some things right about soccer. Well, there are some things that I don't like about it either. But one of them is relegation, especially if a team does bad enough they actually get knocked down a level. So say you're a high 8 team. Well,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't do so good. You're going to go down a level. You're going to go back down to, the B level or whatever. Now imagine if pro sports in America did that. Let's just say like the Jacksonville Jaguars be the best college Division III team in all of football as well. They'd be just kicking the snot out of some of those Division III teams, or like the Pittsburgh Pirates would be probably the best AA baseball team in the world, I think, just because of how horrible they are as a major league team. Now you bring them down, start knocking them down levels, and they could definitely do some damage at some of their lower levels too. So at least soccer's got that right.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna throw out, like we say, it's very popular around the world. I mean, and rightfully so, and people enjoy playing FIFA, soccer as well. So props out to you for playing that, but just not my cup of tea. I'll just put it like that. Not my cup of tea. But obviously we have the fact. Actually, before we get to that, excuse me. Easy A. Josh Gordon needs to see Coach Carter. LOL. He needs to see some other coaches too, and I think that could very well help him and whatnot. But yeah, Josh Gordon.
He needs to go see that one coach from Last Chance U.
Yes.
Coach Brown. Whatever his name. I think it was Coach Brown or whatever.
Yeah.
He'd light him up.
He would. He definitely would. So here's the fact on the back of this. The most popular sport on earth is soccer.
Duh.
Source, Extraordinary Book of Facts, apparently. So look that up. It's played by 100 million people in more than 50 countries. And I believe that. I really do believe
Easiest sport to play. All you got to do is kick a ball.
That's
That's why it's the most popular sport. It's easy. You just kick a ball. Doesn't require much forethought after that.
Oh, boy. My sister, Caitlin Toner, and whoever else plays soccer, they're just going to rip us if they see this.
I know there's strategy to it, but, kids in a third world country, it's not like they have the means or the skills as well to have, they're not in the streets playing baseball or anything, or running a pro style offense and trying to play cover 2 against the kids in the neighborhood and, American football. All you gotta do is kick a ball.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm just saying you're not wrong. It's just not my cup of tea. But go Loons. I mean, honestly, go Loons. Props out.
Hey, watch out for the women's team coming too. The Aurora, I think their name is, or whatever.
I like that name.
Out of the National Women's Soccer League.
I like that. I like that. You like that. So I do like that. Last one. We'll keep it. We'll try to keep it short because we want to get to ARA. We got some good ones. Would you support a ban on any sport? I asked this to the Zoners. I asked this to Voldy. What do you think?
Are we talking ban as in like an entire sport is gone, or like a ban as in like, are we talking like like a 50-game suspension type ban?
Let's just say for good.
Okay.
Because it doesn't really specify. I'm not gonna lie.
You leave it open to interpretation. So sports completely gone.
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yep. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Just depends on which sport we're talking. We're banning soccer. Oh, darn. Shoot. Drats.
Just in the U.S. I think there'd be some. I mean, let's go like this. If it was let's go with a professional sport. I mean, you could still play it in college, or you could play it in high school. I mean, let's just say for professional. What do you got?
Basketball.
Ooh. Yeah, ouch.
I'm sorry. I can't do it. NBA, goodbye.
All right.
See ya. Not going to lose any sleep over it.
Don't blame you. Yeah, this one's tough for me. And please, owners, put your thoughts in here too. It's too easy for soccer, man. I know which one. Tennis. I hate to listen. I hate to say tennis because I know there's a lot of people that play it, and it's fun. I mean, it's fun when you play it, right? You enjoy playing. But watching it, oh, my God. Oh, yikes. I mean, it's just so boring. I'm sorry, but it's not a sport I enjoy sitting down and watching. And, it's just, I'm not a big tennis person. I mean, props out to Serena Williams, Federer, Nadal, all those athletes. I mean, but it's just, I could care less. I'm sorry. I really could care less. Munson says NASCAR, and some of these NASCAR people are probably going to rip Munson a new one on that. But
Interesting.
again, there's a lot of fans, though, with NASCAR. So, I mean, I got respect. But, I that'd probably be my second or third. But, I'm going to go with tennis. I could care less. I'm sorry. So, but props to the people that do it. All right, here is what we got on the back of the card. This is from the Gallup poll of 2008, so this is a while ago. 38% support a ban on animal racing. Animal racing. So you got that. And then 21% support a ban on hunting. So you got PETA people against people that go hunt and whatnot. But we're not going to get into that.
Nope.
But that's what I got from the fact. You can look it up and whatnot. But there's a lot of politics involved with all this. But I just got to leave. Hey, man, I'm not touching that, as we like to say here, as the Kerf Doctor likes to say. But anywho, that's going to do it for... Whoa! Well, before we move on, I just got a comment in here, Voldy. Ooh. I don't know how people are going to feel about this. Munson, you might have kicked the hornet's nest here. Also, wouldn't mind hockey disappearing. Cole?
He's just saying that because I said basketball.
Well, that's a good point.
He's just saying that because he's jealous. He's a hater. That's all right.
I think that's...
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah. Munson, you've probably kicked the hornet's nest here, and the thing is that this is recorded, and this is going to people that enjoy hockey, so... Oh, boy, you're in trouble,
My mom's
sir.
got choice words to say to Munson if she could only figure out how to comment.
Yeah.
Let's just say
I
want to
hear what Jimbo has to say about that, too.
Yeah.
And DJ. And then he had to, he didn't spell hockey right, so there's that. So he had to correct himself. He said, I wouldn't mind Hickey disappearing. Well, okay.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, Munson. I wish you luck, buddy. Wish you luck. All right, let's move on to Absurd or Approved. We got some good ones this week. One going to the USFL. Dabo Sweeney talking about this whole college football debacle thing as well. So we're going to get into that for ARA and much more to come. So let's get it going with some Absurd or Approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, let's get it going with some Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, we go to the college football ranks to kick things off, and Clemson Tigers head football coach Dabo Sweeney had something to say about, well, basically a lot of the things that have been going on in college football as of late, including which with, the name, image, and likeness deals, the problems off the field with certain college football teams, and maybe even looking at some more of the prominent Power 5 football schools, maybe even forming their own division as well when it comes to playing college football altogether. And, he said that he thinks that there's a lack of uniformity that could lead to a complete restructuring of athletics. Quote, I think it's just time there's going to be a complete blow up, especially in football, and there needs to be. Quote is saying, I think eventually there will be some type of break in another division. Now you got everybody in one group, and it's not feasible. Alabama has different problems than Middle Tennessee, but we're trying to make them all the same, but it's just not. I think you'll have 40 or 50 teams and a commissioner, and here are the rules. So judging by the comments that Dabo had to say as well, would you think it's absurd or approve the comments that he did made? And looking at a quote, do you think there needs to be a blow up and Power 5 teams having their own division whatsoever?
I feel like when we go over this, it's just so confusing, and people make it out to be, well, Alabama, Clemson, and all these powerhouse schools should be in one division. I think with all this shakeup, it gets tiring, and the reason why I say that is because it's granted, yeah, there's a lot of schools that'll dominate these other schools as well, but I don't think he's completely wrong. And to be honest, I at this point I'm just past the point of caring about what they're gonna do, because honestly it probably won't be something that is good, and it's they're gonna keep hitting on this. They're gonna keep trying to make it better. They're gonna try to put all these competitive schools into one conference and whatnot, or the Power Five conference. And granted, you don't want to see a blowout, which you usually kind of do see in the college football playoff. But I don't think I'm not necessarily against it. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that it's just a dumb way to do it. I think it's okay. I like the way it is right now, but if you do change it, just don't make it so that there's no chance of these teams being able to have successful seasons and then just kind of throw it off to the wayside. Because let's be honest, I mean, all due respect to our Gophers here, but I mean, if the Gophers took on Alabama this year, they'd get destroyed. I mean, let's be honest. They would probably get destroyed. And it's one thing to say that, but also I think, a lot of these championship type of games can be played with the Big Ten championship, for one. You can look at it like that. Granted that you'd have Ohio State. They've won a national championship before. But let's not shy away from the fact that Alabama is still Alabama. Clemson, they had a down year this year, but I think they'll probably, come back. LSU is always kind of in that conversation as well. But I'm not totally against it. I'm sick and tired of hearing about it, to be honest with you. And it's not anything that, it's just that athletic directors and the NCAA, they just want to make more money. They're trying to get this hype up, and they're worried about the NIL and whatnot. So, I mean, it's fine. I think I'm not going to say it's absurd. I'll give it my stamp of approval just because I don't think there's a right way to do it, but we'll see. Voldy, what do you think?
I just kind of look at it from this standpoint. If this goes into an area where there could be a complete blow up, and you put all the top schools, you put like the Alabamas, the Clemson, the Georgias, all in one power conference or division. Let's just hope that only one of those teams makes the college football playoff, because that's the way it should work too. You take all the big schools and put them in their own conference, like that that Patrick Star meme as well. That is what the basis should be too. Like, I'm fine with that. And if it ends up being that way it even make it more confusing too, there certainly is going to be, some sort of ramifications out of this, especially with teams leaving and going to the SEC. They're going to the Big 12. They're joining the Big 10. Nobody knows what any of these conferences are anymore. And at some point, it's just going to be like, all right, play whoever you want and just be done with it. Let's just get your 12 games in. We'll see you come, New Year's or something like that. Right. It all just really gets confusing. Could there be a big blow up? Yeah, I could certainly see it, especially with now all these universities having to account for NIL deals and recruiting, and which 5-star athlete's going to get the best deals for them, so that way they can take care of themselves and their family, how that plays into recruiting, how that's going to affect the institution, and yada, yada, yada. A whole bunch of malarkey that 5 years ago nobody was even remotely thinking would ever happen to. I think the comments are definitely, it's got my stamp of approval, because, just throw it out there, see what happens.
Yeah. throw it out there, just see if it sticks, right? And then we'll go back to something here because Munson says that's all right, Voldy. Same thing with the tie thing for soccer. Someone has got to win. Someone's got to win. That's how he looks at it. So with that, but yeah, someone's got to win. I don't know, but yeah, in this case, Voldy, with the college football thing, yeah, sure. Good luck. I don't know. Just don't screw it up. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, this one comes off the fact that, one team we talked about to start off the show, the Timberwolves, they're in the playoffs, and one team that should be but isn't, the LA Lakers, is on the outside looking in, and they certainly did have plenty to say, of course, with their head coach, Frank Vogel, getting fired at the end of the year. Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers says that he thinks he and LeBron James can still win a title, and says the conversation they will have is on what changed from when they won a title to this season when they brought in, Russell Westbrook and the whole crew as well. For them, that should have been a superstar team, ended up being no star team whatsoever. But obviously, looking at some of his comments did include, I think us too can. We've shown what we can, Davis said, as I don't know what's something that we just have to reevaluate in the offseason upstairs. Me and him talking about this season and what we would like to see next season, and kind of just figure it out from there. So looking at it as well with the comments from Anthony Davis, AD, if he stays healthy, LeBron in his more senior years, just looking to become the all-time NBA scorer as well. Do you think, is it absurd or approved, just those two guys and, whatever role players they want to throw in there too, are still enough to win another title for the Lakers in LA?
I think I said this before when we talked about Russell Westbrook. I mean, the Russell Westbrook experiment needs to be over.
And it just needs to be done to begin with. Let's be honest.
Right. I'm under the same assumption too that it's not working and it's not going to work.
Right.
And he didn't play well. Let's be honest. He didn't play well. But for the Lakers, I'm going to say it's absurd. The reason why I say that is Anthony Davis needs to stay on the court. And I think these injuries are catching up to him. He is a very good player. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But these injuries keep piling up. And quite frankly, this team got older with adding Carmelo, with Davis, and bringing back, I think they brought back Howard and, Westbrook. And they just didn't have enough good role players. As we saw, LeBron had to do a lot of the work because no one else would pick it up. You needed to get a shooter. They lost out on DeMar DeRozan. They wanted DeMar DeRozan. I think they could have gotten him, but they couldn't make it happen. And I just don't see a scenario where they would be able to find somebody. I think the Lakers need to do some soul searching this offseason. And also, they need to start, once they stop talking trash, once they stop, doing stuff that just isn't the way that LeBron James would have them do it, then I think there's some hope there. But right now, there's not a whole lot of guys that are willing to step up, and that's the role players. Anthony Davis, with his injury issues, and can they win it? Yeah, sure, but they got to acquire a star that's going to be able to fill the void that Russell Westbrook couldn't fill. And I think they have to look at this season, they have to look themselves in the mirror and say, what do we got to do to get back on track? Well, you got to make some deals. And that's the Laker way. That's what they do. They go and they find other guys in order to complement LeBron, Anthony Davis, and whatnot. So, but as I look into the future, I don't see it. I think Phoenix is still on the rise. You look at Memphis. Hell, you look at the T-Wolves, okay? And Pat Bev got under their skin. Okay, and usually, you can be able to combat that, but they couldn't with Pat Bev. Granted, who's in the playoffs, who's not. So, just saying. So yeah, I think it's absurd. I don't think they will win a title together, and I think that it could end up Anthony Davis going to Chicago, where he's from. So it's a possibility. Voldy, what do you think?
First off, addressing the whole Russell Westbrook thing to begin with, like, he just needs to be on a team where he can just get his triple-double records, not even sniff the playoffs, go away. Just be the guy somewhere else. We saw early in his career that he could work. Him and KD, James Harden when he was coming off the bench, it worked. It worked for the most part. They made a couple Western Conference Finals appearances. They made the NBA Finals one year, didn't win it all. And, when he tried to go on and do it on his own, it didn't really work. Then he tried joining up with a couple of guys. That didn't really work either. So now we're at a point where, is Russell Westbrook about going to be winning with a team, or is it going to be about him trying to be the guy? I think right now, it's time for him to be just the guy. Get a few more years, ride off into the sunset. Maybe he'll get a ring in his assistant coach or something. Who knows? I just don't think as a player he can do it. Look, this is me, the basketball expert, tuning in on that. And for the Lakers too, it just really speaks to the fact that some of those role guys they had, like Alex Caruso, who's now in Chicago, having a guy like that coming off the bench for you really plays a big part, because it's not always the top end guys, the Anthony Davises, the LeBron James, of course. It's always the guys that when LeBron and when AD are hurt and or tired of sitting for a spell, with those guys third, fourth off the bench, they're the ones that are going to play, big roles down the stretch too, that certainly are going to be a big factor whether your team wins a title or not. Need to find more of those guys, because once they won a title, most of them either sign new deals or shipped away. Not a whole lot of emphasis on bringing some of those guys back for the Lakers. And no, they're more about the star power. Let's talk about also how Carmelo Anthony was a Laker for like a hot second. And, didn't really do much of anything in his time with the Lakers too. So that just speaks that having 5 superstars on a team, or guys that were superstars, doesn't mean anything when you're trying to win a title too, because there have been plenty of teams that had 0 superstars and guys that just did their job and, ultimately worked out too. So do they have enough? I think they have enough, but is it going to actually work if they can figure it all out? We'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know what has to happen, but they I forgot to mention this at first, but Voldy, great job on the lower 30 or whining time. That's pretty good. It kind of goes into the whole thing that they got going on HBO, which I've been watching. It's very good, by the way. Very interesting.
Yeah, I gotta add that to my list. I'm a little behind on 90 Day Fiance stuff. So
right. Well, you'll get there. You'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I mean, the Lakers, if you want to win another championship, you got to have the right role guys. And this year, you really didn't have that. So, don't know what to tell you. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, it is on the eve of this weekend. The USFL makes its return for spring football, one of which some of the changes that are looking into the start of the season is actually removing the old ball and chain, or in this case, the marker and chain, if you will. The yard markers on the sidelines of any other football game that have been a customary sight for, since football has been imaginable, will be gone in the USFL, as the USFL actually this past week played a preseason game and included the debut of its new first down measuring system, which combines a chip in every football and the yellow first down line that fans have been accustomed to seeing on TV. Video of its first use was accompanied by the USFL, saying this is the first down markers that are more important and more accurate than ever. So if you want a first down, they got the chip in the football, and that is going to be the indicator, as opposed to eyeing it up and seeing if the right angle of the football touches the nose of the front marker and signaling a first down, to which it very well could be. So with that being said as well, with the new first down indicator with the chip in the football, and obviously the old-fashioned yellow line marking as the first down on TV. Is it absurd or approved? The USFL, I should say, XFL, still wait until next year. The USFL eliminating the chains in favor of the chip in the ball and the visual marker for all those viewers at home.
I like it. I'm not going to lie. It's got my stamp of approval. Now, I'm not going to go as far to say as the NFL should use it. Let's see how it works first and then make that determination. But how long is this league going to survive? That's kind of the next thing. And that's in all due respect. I'm not trying to, throw that out there. But, it's very possible this could fail. It's just... It's one of those things where let's give it a shot. Let's see if this will work. Now, that's kind of part of the game too. It's like, oh, did he get enough? Did he not get enough? It's very interesting to see if there is a way that they can make this work for the NFL. And if it works like that, great. Instead of having the chains. Granted, you'd be taking away some jobs that people do, and people do a great job with the chains. I've done it before. It's fun. You got to pay attention. That's for sure. But it's also kind of part of the game, measuring and whatnot. It is kind of enjoyable to see who got the first. If they didn't get the first round, who got the first, who didn't, and whatnot. But it's an interesting way of going about it. And granted, there's always going to be something to where, well, if the technology is not 100% correct, we can't do this and that and this and that. Let's see how it plays out. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I think it's got my stamp of approval. We'll see what happens, but it'll make it interesting. But before we get to you, Voldy, fun fact, former Viking Kyle Sloter is a QB in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like it. Slaughterhouse. Let's go. Easy A says absurd statements. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Why is that? Tell me. Voldy, what do you think?
I think this hopefully will lead the NFL maybe tuning in this spring to see how this all works too, because obviously the NFL wants to be on the cutting edge of this, and this is something that fans have been barking for years. Like, how do we get the truest knowledge of it being a first down or not? It does run into the issue, like, I guess it didn't really say in the story or not whether the football or the chip in the ball is like in the middle of the ball. Is it on one of the tips as well? Like, where is that going to be? Yeah. Is the chip just encompassing the football? Is it just a football-sized chip that's just all over it? And what indicates that? Because I know, like, the NFL's had the pylon cam right where the first down marker is, and on the actual pylons, the end zone as of late. So they're on that cutting edge of it. Now let's just see how it works out in the spring. If it makes it past, 3 or 4 games, to how maybe the NFL can say, no, we came up with this idea on our own. This is completely new. Nobody's ever seen this before. We're smart. But I see this. I think it's got my stamp of approval. Maybe make it a little less cluttered on the sideline, leading to a lot less human error, where it's decisive. There's nobody's got any agenda to it. It's like, is it a first down? Is it not? If it is, great. If it isn't for your team, spot the football. Let's get to replay. Dang it, that's wrong. You suck. I hate technology. So it's got my stamp of approval.
Let's just pray to God that it works. That's all we got to say about that.
And then what if it doesn't? Like, do you got to say 10 yards? That's good. Do you just eyeball it every time with no yard markers? You keep them in emergency situations? I don't know.
Who knows? I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, if things couldn't get much worse for the Washington Commanders, well, let's bring Congress into everything as of late, too. Well, the Washington Commanders apparently failed to refund security deposits, concealed revenue and kept 2 sets of financial books, as the U.S. House Oversight and Reform Committee alleged in a letter sent to the Federal Trade Commission. Now, a 20-page letter detailed what the committee said was a multi-year process of altering records to hide revenue that led to more profits for the organization as opposed to the shared revenue that all the franchises had. So the commies were having 2 sets of books, not refunding security deposits for seat licensing, and basically hiding a little bit and taking a little bit off the top for themselves as opposed to sharing it with the rest of the team. You could have sure fooled me with that dump of a field that they've got at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. But hey, Dan Snyder has got a way of cooking the books, pun intended on this one, to make a little bit more money for himself and maybe for the football team too. Reading a little bit more into the story too, and one of the reports coming out that one of the people that was called in to testify to the oversight committee was actually a former I think it was the former president of the Washington football franchise that hails in the nation's capital too. So there's a little vested interest in that. Maybe not so much the favor of the commies as well, but this is a very interesting situation. Now you've got Congress involved as well, and the political landscape that is just shouting distance away from where the commies call themselves a football team in Washington too. So this could be a little bit even hotter water for owner Dan Snyder too. So with this current situation of reports coming out of 2 sets of financial records and all the money being pocketed by Washington, could this finally be the straw that breaks the camel's back and gets Dan Snyder out of the NFL? Is that absurd or approved?
Oh, it's got my stamp of approval. I hope it is. And that's the thing. I hope it is. Dan Snyder, why? My question is, why does this keep happening through this team? Why do we have things like this that happen all the time? Why is there these with the cheerleaders, with the financial stuff, bad? I mean, just a bad organization, especially the higher ups in that organization.
You've got a stadium that's falling apart.
You got a literal stadium, and you have a field that you didn't fix that you were supposed to, and you had many players pretty much tear their ACLs at that terrible field in Washington.
Your own players too, man.
Your own
Not
players.
even just
Robert
the opposing
Griffin,
ones.
Robert Griffin, Adrian Peterson. I mean, you name it.
Chase Young, Joe Burrow.
Yeah. This is a travesty.
Alex Smith.
This is an absolute travesty. Why does this keep happening? It's Dan Snyder. Dan Snyder is a terrible owner. He will always and forever be a terrible owner. There's all these, they like to say, allegations. This organization, and I have great respect for Ron Rivera, and I just don't understand how he can keep coaching this team with all this terrible ownership, terrible management among this team. I mean, props out to Riverboat Ron, but oh my God, Dan Snyder, someone needs to take his ownership away. He is a terrible owner, and the fact that these incidents keep happening, and they seem to come down to what's going on in the organization, tells me that, hey, you guys need to figure some stuff out, because there is one central person that is making this worse, and that is Dan Snyder. I hope this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. I hope that this is something that people can finally say, screw this. Goodell goes in there and says, you're done. We're banning you from the league because you keep creating this toxic environment in the Commanders organization, and we've had enough. So, Dan Snyder, he needs to go. But it's got my stamp of approval. I hope this is the one thing where the NFL says enough is enough, and they get a new owner. They're able to get this organization to at least as a workable culture, for goodness sake. I mean, come on. It's just crazy. Munson says, who's the worst out of the group? Glenn Taylor, the poll adds, Dan Snyder. I mean, it's pretty bad with Dan Snyder. It's pretty bad with Dan Snyder. Then 2 is probably the poll ads, and then Glenn Taylor. Well, Glenn Taylor just, yeah. I mean, there's a lot wrong with all 3 of them. But Dan Snyder's. I'm just glad he's not our owner. Oh my God, I would be. Yeah, I feel bad for Washington fans. But Voldy, what do you think?
Look, it's just completely. Am I shocked by any of these allegations?
No.
Absolutely not. This is just one big old dumpster fire wrapped in a crap tornado shoved between a crap sandwich, bacon in the hot sun on the 4th of July. It is just bad, bad, bad all around. It's just unbelievable the fact that Dan Snyder is like, these allegations keep coming out and there's nothing because of it. I really hope here by this time next week we're talking about how the NFL's voted Dan Snyder out, or Dan Snyder is selling the team, because this team went through an image rebuild that they couldn't even get right in the first place. They need an image reboot with a new image of a new owner. That would be best for everybody, but I'm just completely surprised that even these allegations came out, just because, well, you would think in some sort of way that there would be some sort of sense of professionalism. But if a team's cooking the books so they can get more money, where is that money going in the first place, too? Because it certainly ain't going back to the field or to the stadium, too, with sewage pipes breaking. You got bleachers falling apart and almost maiming, a top player in the league, too. And, obviously injuries that have happened on the field that could have potentially ended many players' lives and careers, almost did for at least one with Alex Smith, who should definitely sue the Washington football team if I'm looking at it as well, with all the injuries that have occurred there. I think maybe if these allegations or anything turn into anything, Alex Smith should definitely look into a wrongful injury suit of some sort. Just putting that out there for everyone to maybe mull over that a little bit. Is it completely out of the realm of Dan Snyder getting booted from the NFL? No, I think it's got my stamp of approval. This has got to be something, because sooner or later it's going to be that Dan Snyder linked to murder of numerous Washington football team employees. That's the next logical step. We go from off the field issues to front office concerns, harassment, money laundering, and whatever, to murder. Someone's got to be dead at the end of this rainbow. That's not a very big old pot of gold, because it's certainly going right in the pocket of Dan Snyder.
Well, for one, I think someone needs to be put on this list officially, this infamous list. So we'll make that happen next time we do the segment. So, all right, last one, Voldy.
Well, a guy who's doing himself no favors to another guy that's trying to get himself out of the doghouse. Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred tried to defrost some of the icy relationship between the players and Major League Baseball as well, with a nice little gift for everybody in their locker on opening day, as Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred did gift Major League players Bose headphones on opening day as a peace offering after the 99-day lockout that delayed the start of the season. As did confirm that a letter signed by Manfred was left in the locker of each player when teams began their seasons Thursday and Friday, as the report did come out. Now, we all know that the situation with Manfred and the players, not very good since he came to the league. He's been in since 2014. It still feels like this is like his second or third year, and continues to find ways to screw up more ways than not, with Rob Manfred being commissioner of Major League Baseball. So we already know the history with the lockout and the struggle the last couple of seasons to even get a full season with the COVID lockout, and making sure that players and everybody is going to be taken care of with new collective bargaining agreements. Is it absurd or approved? Manfred's gift of the headphones will ease the icy relationship between Major League Baseball and the players.
Absurd. It won't. And I'm just going to put it out right away. Granted, you gave it to every MLB player, but what about the minor league players? I mean, you can't forget about those guys. I mean, you can give out whatever the hell you want. People know what you really are, and you're kind of that guy that just wants to just let them know, just listen, look, I'm on your side. But really, I'm not. I'm just, I've got enough money to give you all these Bose headphones, so please accept this gift.
He probably didn't even pay for it.
No, he probably didn't.
A sponsor of Major League Baseball, so I'm pretty sure they just
there's some
hey,
conspiracy.
can I get some headphones? And done. Snap of the fingers. We're good.
Yeah, there's some conspiracy going on, and I think we need to look into it. But, it really isn't. I mean, it's that plain and simple. I think what Adam Wainwright said, to put it bluntly, he doesn't do anything for us. Okay. That kind of tells you where things are at. So I think he's got to do more than that in order to get back on the get back on good terms with the players. So, yeah, Manfred, nice try, bud, but yikes. Voldy, what do you think?
Look, I was just doing some quick math there with my phone. 30 Major League franchises, and let's just say he gave them to every player that's on the 40-man roster. 40 times 30, that's only 1,200 pairs of headphones. Like, I know that Bose is a sponsor or a major partner with Major League Baseball. That's a drop in a bucket of what Bose can do and what Major League Baseball. So basically, he just probably got them for trade and say, hey, can you help me out here really quick? Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. And then, boom, sent out to everybody. No big deal about it whatsoever. Look, you can try any short of buying each player a Lamborghini. That's not gonna fix anything. Short of going out there and publicly humiliating yourself as maybe dressing as a San Diego chicken or Bernie the Brewer, TC Bear, Wally the Green Monster, the mascot down in Houston, Astro, I think his name is, or something. Those goofy mascots. I don't think there's going to be any ease in those relationships with the players in Major League Baseball. Short of maybe Rob Manfred taking a BP practice as a bullpen catcher and just taking line drive in catcher's gear off a pitching machine or something and just getting raked through the coals is definitely not going to be easing the relationship whatsoever. I think Rob Manfred's got a lot of butt kissing to do, and he's going to be doing it all the way till he's out of office. Who knows how long that's going to be. So it's completely absurd.
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be anything that's going to resurrect or help their what am I trying to say? The connection between him and the players. I mean, it's already severed. I mean, unless you're buying Lamborghinis or something like that for every player, which I think would be tough. But at the same time, it's not going to work. I'm sorry, that bridge is already burnt. We need a new commissioner as soon as possible. So there you go. All right, great job with ARA this week, Voldy. Got a lot of good ones in there. But let's get to some Shield shout-outs. There's some good ones this week, and we'll get to them right now. So let's get it going with some Shield shout-outs.
Shield shout-outs.
All right, Voldy, who are you shouting out tonight?
Well, unfortunately, we have to start off Shield shoutouts on a bit of a somber note as well. Not only did the sporting world lose another titan of the game, but unfortunately, the world just lost an overall decent human being with the passing of former Washington quarterback, former Pittsburgh quarterback as well. Dwayne Haskins, unfortunately, lost his life age of 24 years old when training down in Florida over the weekend as well. And I know that the world is, at least the organizations that he played for are hurting, friends, family, and those that were a part of his life are hurting as well. So rest in peace to Dwayne Haskins. I know that we gave him flack on the show as well, but it doesn't take away from the human being that he was off the football field. He was certainly definitely on the field as well, key contributor to the success at Ohio State, and you know what, had some good moments in his career with Washington before ending, parting ways and going to Pittsburgh to try to find his way in that area. But unfortunately, we'll never know, as Dwayne Haskins gone before his time as well. So rest in peace to Dwayne Haskins. We do have to send Shield shout-outs as well. A little bit of history in the professional baseball world, as I believe it was last night that San Francisco Giants hitting instructor Alyssa Knockin was the first female to coach on the field, as she was over at first base coach for the Major League franchise that is in San Francisco. First female to coach on the field for a Major League Baseball team. That did happen last night with the Giants winning in a big way. We also have to send out to hitting instructor as well, but also a New York Yankees farmhand, Rachel Balkovic, who picked up her first managerial win this past Saturday. First woman to win as a manager for an MLB-affiliated franchise with her coaching. I believe it's a low-A team down in Florida. And we do have to finish off Shield shoutouts. Do have to send a Shield shout-out to family member Jenna Skaggs on the family side of creative consultant Mrs. Sarah Ann Twoosvold, and the SDSU dance team that finished in 4th place at Nationals this past week, finishing in the Division I Palm Division. And congrats on a great career for Jenna, as finishing off with the SDSU dance team as well. So that's going to do it for Shield shoutouts this week.
Very nice Shield shoutouts. Going back to the Dwayne Haskins thing, I tweeted this too. Very sad, absolutely sad. I know that you and I both have said too that we've given some flack and whatnot, but yeah, like you said, it doesn't change the fact that someone just lost their life, and that's something that we do take seriously, and we send our condolences out to the family, friends, and whatnot of Dwayne Haskins. And, again, it sounded like he was turning his life around, too, and really starting to hone in on, getting back into this league and getting to his full potential and whatnot. Granted, being with the Washington Commanders and Dan Snyder probably, didn't help, too. But I'm glad that the Steelers took him in, and Mike Tomlin really helped him, grow as a person and as a quarterback too. So, shout out to everybody that thought or going through this terrible time, especially his wife as well. So, prayers out to the family, friends, and whatnot. So, but anyway, a lot of cool things happening too with your Shield shout outs as well. First female coach on the field with Alyssa, and then Rachel Balkovic with the farm team, and then Jenna Skaggs. Wow, how about that? And Nationals, man, that's pretty sweet. It's pretty cool. So, great job. And
Thanks,
let's Voldy, you switched hats. What's that? What is that? Oh, that's a Minnesota hat. That looks pretty nice. $20, $5 shipping for the hats. They look fantastic. If you want some, we still got a couple left, and we can get them to you. So we'll get that going for you as well. Also, these bad boys, these sweatshirts, are going out to people that we're waiting on some. And some we're waiting on people to throw in some dough with that as well, so they can get their sweatshirts. But sweatshirts are $40. We're going to up the shipping on that because they are expensive. So probably
cheap.
They ain't cheap. $8 to $9 we're working with
here.
Yeah, working with Jimbo on that. But of course, we'll get that going for you. But other than that, we got shirts too. We got awesome shirts. You don't get this on the back, but the Matty C at least. But you get this. You get the front. Looks pretty sweet. Minnesota Sports Live. It's $20, $5 shipping. Talk to me, talk to Voldy, talk to Jimbo. We'll get you set up. It's awesome.
Yup.
And, stickers. We got stickers, plenty of stickers. $2 for small ones, $3 for the big ones. They're looking pretty sweet as well. Just gave some out to the Popcorn Bucket List guys. So shout out to those guys as well, since that's a perfect segue. Check out W2 Performance, Will Ruttell. He's got some awesome stuff. He's got a lot of subscribers. He's got a lot of views. He's got a lot of people chiming in. So shout out to him. Check him out at www.w2performance.com for everything that he's got going. The Haas project is going pretty well, so check him out. And thank you to National Fleet Graphic, Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson for the stickers. Check out Jack's Junkyard, Jack O'Keefe. Breaking into the League with Sam Gabrielli, Ryan Martin, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and check out the Victorious POD with Ryan Walters and Jack Vickers. More on that later. We're working on something with them. And make sure you check out Popcorn Bucket List, a weekly show with Nick Dahlhoff and Ryan Myberg. They had me on the show recently. Make sure you check that out. There was some controversy off that episode. There was some controversy, but it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. So if you check out that episode, make sure to like, subscribe to all those channels, and make sure you do it for ours as well. So anyway, great job, Voldy, this week, and we're working on something big. Just saying.
Oh yeah,
working on something big. We're trying to work out the details, but once we have it going, we'll let you guys know, because we got something big. So make sure you be checking them socials, medias, and everything like that. So we got more content, more fun coming your way. But anyway, remember, folks, keep in the zone.
holla.
Thank you for watching Minnesota Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.